If you're thinking of stopping Mounjaro, or you've already stopped Mounjaro, you need to watch this video first. I'm going to be completely honest with you. When I stopped Mounjaro, I genuinely thought the hardest part was over. I'd lost 10 stone, I was free, I thought I'd cracked it. Truth is, I had absolutely no idea what was to come. There are 5 things that happened to me when I stopped Mounjaro, and no doctors, no Facebook group, and not a single video on YouTube warned me about them. And number 3 nearly broke me. Truth is, there is light at the end of the tunnel, and it's not Mounjaro, and no, it's not a train. So let's talk about it. Now, when you decide to stop and you actually get to the point of saying goodbye to the pen, what comes with that is a relief. Not just a financial relief, but an actual relief. I've completed the final level, and what comes with that is an elation and excitement. This is new territory, a new challenge. And that, alongside good habits, will keep you going initially until the relief and the elation morphs into phase 2, and it happens real quick. Now, during this phase, the medication is starting to leave your system and actually has very little impact. This is when things start to become less exciting and less of a relief, and the emotional eating kicks back in, alongside any doubt that you might have had that you could manage this on your own. During this phase, the impact of what Mounjaro did feels all the more evident, and those little habits that you felt like you'd moved on from start to creep back in. So when you're shopping, the sweet and chocolate aisle suddenly becomes visible again, or when you're driving in the car after a stressful day of work, it suddenly dawns on you that there's still that half-eaten packet of biscuits in the cupboard, or even that meal that you struggled to finish when you were on Mounjaro. You suddenly recognise that not only can you finish it, you could probably have seconds. Now, in phase 3, there's the return of the food voice for some, or the emotional eating voice for others, or maybe even both. A thing that Mounjaro felt it placed like a really tight hold around, and in no uncertain terms told to
jog on.
Patterns that began to rear their ugly head in weeks 3 to 4. Suddenly they're back, and this time they feel louder than you ever remember them. Now, at this point in your journey, there's no more Mounjaro in your system, so that chemical barrier has gone, and it's just you and the food noise or the emotional eating left to battle it out. Now, for me, it was week 9 that nearly broke me. This sort of week could happen for anybody. We've all had those weeks where you're just bombarded with life and stress and sadness. It just feels like everything is being thrown at you. And on top of that, it feels like your mind and your body are also working against you. Hunger is screaming louder than ever. The want to soothe and comfort yourself and eat away your emotions and your sadness just is amplified. And naturally, you feel like on top of everything else, I don't want to feel these things, and I don't need to, because I know that there is a solution. Mounjaro. I don't have to feel these things on top of everything else. Why am I punishing myself? I'm just going to reorder. However long week 9 feels, it does end, and it ends in part when you make a decision. Now, at this point, I was 10 weeks post Mounjaro, you may be 10 weeks post Mounjaro. There's no Mounjaro left in your system. The hunger, the food noise, or the emotional eating, that is all back. All of your good habits might suddenly feel like they're completely hopeless without Mounjaro. However, no decision that you make at this point is wrong, and when you accept that, that relieves a sense of pressure. You may decide that you absolutely have tried your best and you need and you want to continue using Mounjaro, but you may also decide that you don't want to continue to use Mounjaro, or for some reason, be it a financial one or a health one or even a social reason, you might not be able to continue to use Mounjaro. There absolutely is a way forward. And the way forward is to find a toolkit to replace the tool of Mounjaro that works for you and is realistic and sustainable and meets you and your lifestyle. Now, for me personally, the hunger and the food noise came back quite a while before I actually physically stopped using Mounjaro. So when I started to titrate down from 7.5 milligrams, around 3 weeks into using 5 milligrams, the hunger and the food noise came back. Well, then I experienced around 4 weeks after stopping Mounjaro that the food noise left, but what it was replaced with was a desire to completely eat all of my emotions, be that happy, sad, nothingness. The propensity to emotional eat was there. And what I'd recognised when I started to titrate down is that Mounjaro was supporting me to make positive changes, but it hadn't addressed the core and the key issues that I had with food. And so at that point, I had decided that I needed to engage in some talking therapy around my propensity to emotional eat, which I did. That's been really helpful. But what is really helpful to me is the daily toolkit that I use every single day without fail that has absolutely gotten me through. So first and foremost, and most importantly for me, is my diet and relationship with food. Every single day, I make sure that I eat 5 smaller meals that are high in protein, high in fibre, and have a good balance of healthy fats. An awareness of the calories, but I don't calorie count and I don't macro count. But on the days that I'm really, really struggling, I just allow myself to eat more. I try and keep an 80-20 balance of nutrient-dense food and junk food. By doing that, I've actually found that I crave junk food a lot less. And I think that also comes down to the fact that I'm giving my body what it needs. Secondly, exercise. I move. Even if I have face planted a family-sized bar of Galaxy, I don't let that derail me. I don't write a day off because I've eaten something that perhaps isn't great or is high in calories. I get up and I do some sort of exercise, be it going to the gym, doing couch to 5k in the house, or even just doing walking on the spot. I keep consistent in moving. Thirdly, and I know it's really, really, really boring to say given that what I've already told you about my daily toolkit is relatively generic advice, but I stay hydrated. I set myself a water goal for each single day and I try and meet it or be as close to it as I can. The body quite often misinterprets thirst cues for hunger cues, and what I have definitely noticed where I've been so consistent with hydration over the last nearly year is that actually on days when I stay consistently hydrated, I'm actually less hungry and I have far less cravings. Now, where the mindfulness and the sort of therapeutic intervention comes in is that on the days when I find myself wanting food more, craving food, going to the fridge, opening the cupboard, I take 20 minutes and I log what is going on. Now, I know that I've already said this for anybody that's watched my videos, but I can't tell you how genuinely valuable that is. I log what it is, and normally it's boredom or stress, and then I find something that actually replaces what it is that I'm feeling without it being food. You don't have to climb Everest. Set a timer on your phone and do walking on the spot. Do running up and down the stairs 5 times. Watch your favourite YouTuber. Or get a new hobby. You don't have to move mountains, you just have to move your thoughts. So at this point, I am now 13 weeks post Mounjaro. I honestly feel more in control, more at peace with this journey than I have done definitely since week 9. When I think back about my regrets, do wish that I'd have had this information about what's going to happen post Mounjaro, the roller coaster that I'm going to go on, because actually I could have developed this plan a lot earlier, and in doing that, I think I could have made this journey a lot more comfortable. As anyone that's watched my videos know, I struggled for 25 years, and thanks to Mounjaro, I'm at a point now where 13 weeks later, I'm still managing it on my own. Please do like the video and share what you think or what you're using on Mounjaro or off Mounjaro or with whatever you're doing in the comments below. If you haven't, do subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.